If you click this video, there is a reason you were meant to hear this today. Something in you already knows that your life has been different, even if you have never fully understood why. Because being a healer is not always as beautiful as people make it seem. People love to speak about the light, the wisdom, the gift, and the purpose. They admire the strength they see on the outside, but very few ever speak about the hidden side of this journey, the side that costs you something. Yes, you help others. You listen when no one else listens. You bring calm into chaotic spaces. You carry warmth into rooms filled with heaviness. Sometimes people leave your presence feeling better without even knowing why. You have likely been that safe place for others more times than you can count. But what they don't realize is that those who heal others often bleed in silence. There is a darker side to this path, a side filled with emotional weight, confusion, and seasons where you feel completely alone. Many healers spend years carrying burdens that were never theirs, absorbing pain they never created, and wondering why life feels heavier for them than it does for everyone else. They smile in public while fighting silent battles in private. They encourage others while secretly trying to hold themselves together. And because so few people understand this path, many healers suffer through it alone. They begin to think something is wrong with them. They wonder why they feel so deeply, why they outgrow people so often, and why peace can sometimes feel so far away. But the truth is, your sensitivity was never weakness. It was part of the assignment. People think healers are simply blessed. They imagine peace, wisdom, and calm energy at all times. They assume your life must be easy because you know how to comfort others. But they never talk about the pain behind that wisdom. They never talk about the nights you questioned yourself, wondering if you were losing your mind or simply waking up to reality. They never talk about the loneliness that comes when you no longer fit in old spaces. They never talk about the emotional weight of feeling everything so deeply. They never talk about why so many healers feel broken before they become powerful. Because sometimes the strongest souls are built through the hardest battles. And the third truth in this video may be the one changing your life right now. This catches many healers off guard because no one warns you that some of the deepest losses in life do not arrive through conflict. They do not come through loud arguments, dramatic endings, or obvious betrayals. Sometimes people simply fade. They stop calling like they used to. They stop checking in. Their energy changes. The effort becomes one-sided. The connection that once felt natural slowly becomes distant, until one day you realize the relationship is no longer what it was. And that kind of loss can be the most confusing of all, because when there is no clear ending, your mind starts searching for answers. You replay conversations, you question your actions, you ask yourself if you said something wrong, did something wrong, or somehow pushed them away without realizing it. So many healers carry this burden in silence. They blame themselves for exits they never caused. They take responsibility for disconnections that were never theirs to fix. And because healers naturally look inward, they often punish themselves first before questioning anything else. But here is the truth. Many people were connected to an older version of you, a version that was easier to control, easier to drain, easier to keep available whenever they needed comfort, validation, or access to your energy. Some people loved your presence, but only when it required nothing from them. They liked the version of you that tolerated disrespect, ignored red flags, and made yourself smaller so others could feel bigger. They were comfortable when you carried the emotional weight and asked for nothing in return. But the moment you began to heal, everything changed. The moment you set boundaries, they felt resistance. The moment you valued your peace, they felt distance. The moment you stopped shrinking yourself, they no longer knew how to relate to you. So they pulled away, not always because they hated you, but because growth exposes every relationship built on imbalance. Read that carefully. Some people did not miss you. They missed access to you. They missed the version of you that was always available, always forgiving, always overgiving. They missed the benefits they received from your lack of boundaries. That realization can sting, but it can also free you. Because once you understand this, you stop chasing people who only love the parts of you that abandoned yourself, and you begin protecting the version of you that finally chose to grow. You walk into rooms and feel tension instantly. No one has to say a word. The air already speaks to you. You notice the silence between conversations, the forced laughter, the heaviness people try to hide behind polite smiles. Others may ignore it, but you feel it the moment you step inside. You talk to people and sense sadness they never mention. They tell you they're doing fine, yet your spirit feels the ache behind their voice. Someone smiles, but your heart picks up the pain hidden underneath. Someone says, "I'm okay," but something deep inside you knows they are fighting battles in secret. This gift can feel confusing when you don't understand it. You start absorbing emotions that were never yours to carry. You leave conversations feeling heavy. You walk away from gatherings feeling exhausted. You begin blaming yourself for moods that did not even begin with you. This is why many healers feel drained around crowds, confused after simple interactions, and tired for no clear reason. Their energy is constantly reading what others ignore. Their spirit is translating signals most people never notice. And when there are no boundaries, that sensitivity becomes a burden. But even that is not the darkest part, because eventually, every healer enters one painful stage. The stage where they stop trusting themselves. They wonder why they feel so much, why certain places disturb them, why certain people leave them empty. They question their own sanity while carrying truths nobody else can see. And in that season, many healers shrink themselves just to feel normal. But the truth is, you were never meant to be normal. You were meant to discern. You were meant to sense what hides in plain sight. And once you learn to protect your energy instead of apologizing for it, your gift stops feeling like a curse and starts becoming your power. There comes a season where nothing fits anymore. The places that once felt familiar start feeling strange. Conversations that once excited you now feel forced. The life you built around comfort suddenly feels too small for the person you are becoming. Old friendships feel empty, not because anyone became evil, but because some connections were only meant for a former version of you. They matched your wounds, your silence, your confusion. Now that you are growing, what once felt natural begins to feel distant. Old habits feel dead. The patterns that once numbed you stop working. The distractions lose their power. The routines you used to hide inside no longer satisfy your spirit. What once kept you comfortable now feels like a cage. Even your own identity starts falling apart. You look in the mirror and barely recognize yourself. The labels you wore so proudly begin to crumble. The roles you played for others no longer feel true. And that can feel terrifying. You wonder, what happened to me? Why do I feel disconnected? But this is where many people misunderstand the process. You are not falling apart. You are shedding what no longer belongs to you. You are releasing masks you wore to survive. You are outgrowing spaces that only held your smaller self. You are losing what was never meant to follow you into your next chapter. Healing often feels like destruction before it feels like rebirth. It feels like endings before beginnings. Silence before clarity. Loneliness before alignment. Chaos before peace. So if your world feels unfamiliar right now, do not panic. Sometimes everything must break its false shape so your true form can finally emerge. This season is not here to ruin you. It is here to reveal you. And when the dust settles, you will realize this was never the end. It was the becoming. So if people are leaving, if you feel exhausted, if life feels uncertain, do not mistake transformation for punishment. Not every loss was sent to break you. Some exits were necessary. Some endings had to happen so new beginnings could find room to grow. What feels painful now may be clearing the path ahead. Some of the hardest seasons of your life were preparing the strongest version of you. They taught resilience, wisdom, patience, and strength you never knew you carried. You were never cursed. You were being rebuilt, piece by piece, lesson by lesson, pain by pain, into someone stronger, wiser, and ready for what comes next.